But I do have poems because I forgot to practice music again.
Woo!
So this one is called Shadows. I am 16 and I fit perfectly into the shadow of his high school crush. He is 24. When he loved her, she was filled with problems he wasn't smart enough to solve. But now he's older and has spent lots of time figuring them out. He knows all the things he should have said, and after years of those things weighing on his tongue, he is so ready to say them. I am 17 and unaware that everything is scripted. He is 25 and knows all his lines. He has done this before. Adolescence was a dance he had already memorized the moves to. I thought he was just a great dancer. I do not realize anything until he somehow maneuvers me between him and the kitchen counter. Most of me is still filled up with trust, but something in my brain is screaming that this was all premeditated. I'm small enough to duck underneath his arm and escape. I'm 18 when he confesses to me. He is 26 when he believes his dreams are coming true. We are by the lake at sunset, and it is beautiful. He thinks of the future he had imagined for himself with her, something he had longed for but never realized, something he can still achieve. He can still win. He can have everything he had wanted for himself back then, but I refuse him. I say I want someone whose hand fits into mine rather than eclipses it. I am 19. He is 27 now and married to someone years younger. I hope that when they get into bed together, he doesn't lay out memories like measuring tape, comparing her to someone he had always wanted to conquer. Woo! That's a very old poem. I'm 27. So I was living in Minneapolis back during 2020 when George Floyd was murdered and there was that big uprising. And my family lives in the suburbs. So they called, all concerned about me being in the big scary city with the tanks and the military and stuff. But then the next week, they call again and they're surprised to hear that the city is still under curfew because they stopped hearing about the entire thing like after day 3, which was wild to me. So this next poem is kind of about that distance. It's called Suburbanites During the Apocalypse. They will hear word of the guns, the sweeps of violence, of the cities being gouged out, ice cream scooped through concrete, disemboweling every street until it's hollow of civilians. They will hear of a wash of bullets wiping the cities clean of people, but they won't pay it mind. Echoes of these sorts of things have been coming for years, and the suburbs have long since tuned it out. Echoes like white noise, ocean waves in the background of their peaceful lives. The stories lap at the edges of their consciousness like water against the shore, and like anyone who doesn't want to get their shoes wet, they learn to take a step back. They don't realize they keep retreating back and back and back until everyone is standing crowded at the middle of their sanctuary with the water closing in around them. The tide has been rising for so long now, but no one notices. It is still green and beautiful in the suburbs. A handful of miles away, the cities are brown with death, but no one sees it over their hedges and past all those highways. They cannot notice the rock creeping toward them. It is so out of sight, so far away. We tell them the world is dying, but they see no evidence around them. It's just kind of hard to believe, you know? But they nod and pretend to understand and never look up. When the phone calls dry up, they don't attribute it to the rock. People from the city never keep in touch, always go, 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 forgetting the families they left behind. Those at home can never understand why anyone would move to the city. Why would you ever choose to live somewhere so dangerous when you could be somewhere safe and beautiful instead? There's no greenery in the concrete jungle, just pavement, under which is dirt, under which is people. People are the backbone of the city, are the foundation, are the main ingredient of the burial. The city has been hollowed out and filled with bodies, a mass grave. The soil will become the richest fertilizer. One day something will sprout from all this death. Most of the world has already stopped before the suburbanites notice anything. This whole time they will still have been going to work and mowing their grass. They will have gone to church and enjoyed brunch with friends and visited the pool during the summer. There's a little less on TV, but they'll say the quiet never bothered anyone. And it'll become quieter and quieter until eventually someone notices the birds have stopped singing, and the crickets have stopped chirping, and the white noise from the city has petered out. The apocalypse sneaks up on the suburbs many, many years after it has already killed off everyone else. When their ghosts finally join the rest of ours, we are laughing. We have watched them diligently peck away at tasks that have long since mattered, filing papers for companies that have ceased to exist. We watch them lay in bed, certain there will be a tomorrow. We see them taken unawares by the emptiness, by the flood and the decay and the silence. When they finally noticed it, they didn't even know how to fight or celebrate the little they still had. They'd never experienced drowning or wilting or grief. They'd never even held a protest before.